Therapy session has begun. We're in.
You did it. You did
We're
it.
in. I did. I was
hi,
so
Jordan.
focused on what I was doing. I'm so sorry.
Canceling your Amazon order.
And reordering it. I just reordered it.
It shouldn't be that hard.
I'm so sorry. Like, I feel like I just totally like ignored
okay.
you
That's
for a
okay.
second.
That's okay. I was just talking about nothing that wasn't important except for my life.
It's okay. I was just talking about everything important to me. So there's that.
I was just pouring out my entire life story.
Kim, it's been a minute.
It's been some time. So I have noticed
It's been a
because
minute.
it's been some time. So
I love,
okay,
you
first-
are on a roll today. I
I'm
love
chatty.
it. Chatty Cathy.
Well, okay. So for starters, I have been with my children for a week and a half.
There it is. Yeah.
And for the past 4 days,
The
it has
post-
just been me.
Yeah, the post-Christmas thing is a real thing.
It's painful. And I'm like, I need people to talk to. So
Here's what I have realized, like when my kids are on break. I work really good out of the home office when they're not there.
yeah.
And then when they get there, I'm like, I'm going to the church.
Except I don't have it.
You don't have a church.
And-
Here you are.
And they're not self-sufficient yet. So
Oh,
it's not like I can
I'm
be like,
sorry.
"Bae, I'm going
Yeah.
to go and work for an hour and a half because
I can't go to like a coffee shop or something like
no,
that.
I can't do
Can you
that.
imagine you setting up a kitchen in a coffee shop? Like, just test kitchen, everybody.
well, we're going to see. I have to prep tomorrow.
You start
for
making
work.
food for people in a restaurant.
Please let me have this moment.
It's so amazing.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
the manager comes up, they're like, I don't think you're allowed.
Is this for sale?
You're like, hey, listen, if
I'll
people
feed you.
if people can paint here, I can do my profession here.
That would be
that
really
guy's
weird.
playing a sermon. That guy's painting a picture. I'm making
fajitas. Yeah, so
Smoky.
I can't set up a kitchen at a coffee shop. That's not allowed. But anyways, so it's been a minute. So I have noticed
Yeah, go ahead.
there has been an uptick in our Facebook page since we didn't drop an episode last week.
Okay, so that's funny because there's been a downtick in downloads. So
Everybody's like, wow,
Yeah.
you all stink.
yeah, we're down 56% in the
no.
last one.
But that was when the last episode, like,
Well, here's what I think happens. I think that people like get to like break.
yeah.
And like they're out of their routine. They're like, I don't listen to my podcast.
I haven't listened
don't.
to any podcasts
Yeah.
in like 2 weeks because I haven't.
So when this thing drops, I fully anticipate people like it to go like
Pick it
sky
back up.
So
Pick it back up.
anyway, if
Well-
you haven't listened in a couple weeks, we missed you. Let's just start with that.
Yes.
And then if
It's
you
my fault.
haven't listened for a couple months, like how dare you?
How dare you?
First of all, how dare you?
You should probably listen.
You jerks.
It's all Christmas related.
Yeah, we had a great Christmas season and you
It
missed out.
was.
So go
It
back and listen to a
was.
couple of those episodes.
Yeah, but the last episode that we didn't get to record is my fault because my child was sick this season.
But that happens, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody's sick. Actually, we had family over the other day, and my father-in-law, you could just tell, like he didn't get up from the couch, and I'm like, not only are you sick, you're sick in my house.
So you're gonna be sick next week.
Yeah, I'm like, you.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people actually
I
have
hate
been
it.
sick this
I'm
Christmas
sorry if you've
break.
been sick. If you were sick for Christmas, like.
That's no bueno.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's too bad. Like it's not a good deal. So anyway, hey, if you're new and like this,
Welcome!
yeah. So before we go any further, like, Happy New Year.
2025.
I didn't even say that to you. I didn't
Happy
even
New
text
Year.
you and tell you Merry Christmas.
Jordan and I are only friends for the podcast.
This is it.
We're not friends outside of this.
You get 1 hour. That's it. Actually I thought
Happy
about it too.
2025.
I thought about it on Christmas. I was like, I should definitely text her, and then I think
Nah.
just life took over. So
I'm not
I knew your kid was sick too. I guess
someone
so.
who's a texter. Like I don't know.
texter? Is
I
that-
don't text. Like
That's dangerously close to the word texture.
I got some textured hair. I got a textured mole on my face.
Anyway, regardless, if this is your first week, what's up? My name's Jordan. Across from me as always is.
My name is Kim.
Hi.
My name, that's exactly what I just thought of. 90s was playing in the car. It was not that soft, but
Which was 25 years ago.
Did that come out 25 years
No.
ago?
The
Oh.
1900s was 25
I know.
years ago.
That's insane.
Think about it. You're 75 years away from 21.
You think you're gonna make it?
00. Oh no. 75? No, I would be like the oldest living
Modern
human being.
medicine.
Oh, and artificial everything.
modern medicine. You might make it. Who knows?
Hey, I saw 2100. Now I'm dead.
At that point, somebody just throw a brick at my face. Take me out because I don't want to be here
this
anymore.
process. Why are we still here? Holy cow. Anyway, so so if you're new here or if you're a longtime listener, welcome back. Happy New Year.
We missed you.
We did miss you a lot.
A whole year went by since we last talked.
Bethany loves that. She told somebody the other day, she's like, see you next year. I'm like, you think that's clever?
I enjoy the cheesiness in it. I do.
I'm like,
I said that to my kids right as they went to sleep. It was Josh's turn.
See you next year
on New Year's Eve, and so I was like, "See you next year." And then I had to explain it because they were like,
"No,
what?
no." Oh, or we could just ring in the new year with you throwing up. Like, that's cool. Anyways, every week we take a deep dive on the greasy and graceful side of things. Sometimes it's politics. Sometimes it's we did take on politics last year. That's crazy.
We did twice.
Yeah,
did we?
We did seasons.
Yeah.
We'll do anything. Like we look at it and we're like, hey, you know what? I see you, and I'm gonna dissect you. That's how it is. Do you feel that way about people? Do you ever look at people and you're thinking to yourself like, I'm overanalyzing you in my mind?
Yes. Well, and like
anybody wears sweatpants in Walmart on Black Friday?
There's so many times, yes, that I'll just like sit there and I'll watch because I'm a people watcher. So I like to watch how people behave.
Yeah.
And it sounds so creepy. I'm not a creep.
No, but you just get wrapped
in,
up.
Like their natural state. Like they're not trying to impress anybody. They're just like existing.
Yeah.
That is like my favorite to watch. And so then I find myself like thinking about their life and making assumptions based off of the shirt that they're wearing.
Yeah. You're kind of like, Pluto, huh? That's what you went with today?
That's a choice.
That was a choice. And nobody stopped you.
Yeah, I know. That's also, I'm like, who are your friends that let that happen? Like, get better friends.
So anyway, Kim always picks a topic. I always give a definition of the topic. Then we look at the greasy side of things, which just absolutely frustrate us to no end. And then we look at it.
I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm ready.
And then we look at the graceful side of things. Try to find some positives with it. You know, you got to find some positives in that.
Yeah.
And then we pretty much just let you know what's coming up next week. Sometimes it's a mystery.
We're not too great at that.
But anyway, this week, Kim,
we already started talking about it.
Let's do it.
It's the new year, baby. 2025. Specifically New Year's resolutions.
Oh.
So I think we can kind of like wrap those up into an all-encompassing conversation.
The New Year's.
Did you tell everybody how we run this? You look it up.
I do.
And then so Jordan, he's currently looking it up.
I do a little deep dive on it.
He does it. He gives you the definition.
And okay, so here we go. Ready for this?
He's got it.
So you don't really have anything on New Year's resolutions per se. You have a lot more that's just about the new year.
Okay.
But I'll give you kind of like a little bit of a dive here. New Year's Eve refers to the evening or commonly the entire day of the last day of the year, December 31st. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you know this or not, but it's called Old Year's Day. In many countries, New Year's Eve is celebrated with dancing, eating, drinking, watching, or lighting fireworks, and some Christians attend what is called a watch night service to mark the occasion. New Year's Eve celebrations generally continue into New Year's Day, January 1st past midnight. So here's the first question on the table. Did you see midnight this year or not?
Absolutely not. I haven't seen midnight since like 14.
Nope.
I
hate it.
My natural melatonin kicks in at like 7:30. It kicks in and it's like, hey, guess what? You can be tired. Like
we're on our way to bed right now. If you would like to join us, that's great. If not, we're gonna knock you out before midnight.
Yeah, like I have not made it to midnight, not to 2. I was gonna say I haven't made it to 2000. But my mom was just telling me she was gonna go to a party, and she's like, I'm kind of glad I didn't because they didn't go home until 3 a.m. I was like, y'all are a bunch of adults.
It's crazy.
It's nap time.
Okay, so that's the New Year. New Year's resolution. We're actually gonna look in the dictionary for this because it's so vast. Are you good? You're like staring at your phone.
I'm looking at the history
Okay.
of New Year's resolutions.
So New Year's resolution defined is a promise that you make to yourself to start doing something good or stop doing something bad on the first day of the year. So that's basically like at the core.
Yeah.
That's the New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
So it's just, I mean, it's just natural.
Yeah.
Do you do New Year's resolutions? Yes or no?
So I used to not. I think this is the first year, but I don't necessarily consider it a resolution because I feel like resolutions are like, meh.
You got to kind of define
You
that
know
word.
what I mean? Like to me, if you have a resolution, it's like, I'm going to lose 15 pounds. I'm going to read more books. I'm going to be more happy. And it's like these broad generalizations.
Yeah.
And instead of doing like broad generalizations of like what I want to happen in 2025, I have it whittled down a lot more. So like, excuse me, one of my resolutions is to just read 3 books of my choosing. I'm a very slow reader. And so like we have books at our church for different,
You got 2 of them that you got to read already.
Yeah, but I don't own them yet because I
Right.
need them from somebody who you're married to.
They're out in the
Are
hallway.
they here? Okay,
Yeah.
good.
She's not going to give them to you yet, but they're
well.
here.
Can I get them?
I don't know. You could probably text her and ask her. Yeah.
Anyways, so we have those books, but I don't, and then like Bible study books, but I don't want to count those because those are things that I have to do. I want to read 3 books that I have chosen myself, whatever they may be.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be cooking books because I buy a lot of cooking books.
That's fair.
And then don't read them. So like the history of restaurants is one of them.
What else? Do you write these down or are they
Yeah,
just more
they're
in your
written
head?
down.
Okay. How many do you have?
I don't know. Count them as I tell you them.
Well, you don't have to give us all of them. I'm just saying, like, is it a long list? Is it a short list?
No, it's a very attainable list.
Okay.
So like read 3 books, keep 3 plants, indoor plants alive.
Good luck.
That is the hardest one, I think.
Talk to my wife, man. She's
I
master
know.
at it.
I have so many friends who are like indoor plant girlies, and I cannot keep them alive to save my life at all.
Bethany just says, "Oh, it's so funny," because she'll tell you, she'll be like, "I'm not really good at it." She's like, "All I do is water them consistently."
Okay,
I
but
think that's the
also
secret.
water them consistently. I have been told I give them too much love. I love my plants too much.
You're like, you know what? I've also been told that about life. So,
like, I have taken a plant and like moved it around the house where the sun.
she doesn't do that. She doesn't move them at all.
Yeah. So I think I just love them too much. I want them to thrive so much.
Like looking at them, like yelling, like your boys.
Did you ever watch? Is it Looney Tunes?
Cartoons? Yeah.
Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Specifically, because there was Elmira, I think.
Oh yeah.
I want to love them and squeeze. Josh said, "I am the Elmira of plants."
I could see that. What else you got?
You are intense.
These are fascinating.
Get my outdoor. I have 4 raised garden beds on my porch. The
Yeah.
boxes. Those
know
are
what
going to
those
get
are.
filled, and I'm going to grow herbs.
Herb. You're gonna have herb garden.
Herb garden, because I'm always in need of herbs, and I get so sick of buying them.
It's so funny that you call herbs, but then when you get to a person named Herb, we make sure that we pronounce the H.
Yeah, because it's weird. But I've heard people say herbs, and I'm like, who?
Yeah, but it's so weird. Like, cause yeah. Okay. Anyway, sorry.
So that I need to get that going.
Okay.
Our headboard, I'm going to remove the paint off of it.
Oh, redo
and
it. A
stain
little
it.
shabby to chic.
Well, it
Or old to
Josh
new.
made it, but we painted it, and I ended up wanting it to be natural wood.
'Kay.
So, and then we're gonna redo our kitchen table
Ooh.
because that is from the early 1900s, like
That you'll shabby to chic.
1905.
Yeah, make that better.
It's like I had water spill on it the other day, and like I don't know what it is, was like peeling off. It's like, yeah, I need to redo this. This is getting gross. So I think and get rid of 5 things each week in our house that we don't use.
I will give you 3 guesses to give me a famous person born in 1905. 3 guesses if you can name anybody who was born in 1905.
Are we talking about like famous people?
Yep.
Harold Ford. Henry Ford. That's his name.
I got a list of people. I don't know any of these people. I have no idea. Anyway.
Harriet Tubman.
I couldn't even tell you if you were right or
Anne
wrong.
Frank.
Like, I'm looking at it.
No, because that would have made her 40 years old during the That's as far back as my mind can go.
Donald Trump. All right, sorry.
1905. So yeah, so those are mine. Do you make resolutions?
I do not make New Year's resolutions. It's so weird. Resolution, the definition of resolution, you ready for this? This is a wild thing, is the act or process of resolving.
Oh.
So it's such
so you're resolving something.
It's such a weird word. Anyway, I do this thing called personal growth plan. I've done it for 15 years, maybe longer.
Okay.
So in a personal growth plan, you have, let's see, I just pulled one up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Technically 6 categories, technically 7 categories, but really there's only 6.
Okay.
So what I do is I have a template. There's 5 bullet points with under each category. So I have like marriage, family, financial, physical fitness, spiritual life, and then work/ministry.
Yeah.
And then I have another category, and I'll put 5 things in each bullet point.
Ooh.
And
I like it.
I don't do New Year's resolutions. This year I have resolved to because oftentimes I just know about it, so I keep it, but not only to have a place where I can see it often, but every 2 weeks to check in to see how it's going.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I've kind of done that with my 5 things. I made like a sheet, and so I do a 5-minute journal every morning.
Where'd you get that idea?
And I don't know.
I love it. I've been doing that for
I bought
years.
it last year, and it's not 5 minute, a 5 year. So
I do
the
5-minute journal is so good. But
yeah,
anyway.
I've heard of it, but I haven't done that. I just kind of wanted to start like journaling throughout my year. And so it has like 5 areas that you can like add in the different year and what day it is, and then just like 6 or 7 lines that you write for something for that day.
My gratitude journal's like that.
And so every week now I put my sell 5 things so that it keeps me on track of like, okay. And I write down the things that I've sold or just gotten rid of.
I am like
decluttering.
Absolutely exhausted right now because I do it all 2 weeks before the new year starts.
Oh.
So like I've already done it because what I've realized is if I get into the new year, not that I won't do it, but I just feel like I got behind, and then I feel like I'm playing catch up all year long. So I'm like, okay. So normally December is all like, evaluation of last year's plan and then modifying last year's plan into what this year needs to be.
See, so like
I'm very goal oriented.
Yeah. And like to me, resolutions are too generic.
They are.
And so like,
which is getting into the greasy side of things, but yeah.
Like, what are you doing to make yourself happier? You know what I mean? Like, that's a stupid thing because happiness is relative.
100%.
It's totally fleeting. And so like, find a way to make yourself happy. Like if it is like find 3 good things every morning to, write about, then write down the 3 good things, but don't just plan to eat better because what does that mean?
That's what a lot of people do. So like, here's my grease about like New Year's resolutions is I hear people say this a lot because I coach a lot of people too. So like, when people say the words, for example, I need to, you never will.
Yeah.
I need to work out more. I need to read more, whatever the case is. Like, this is old, but it's still very relative. Like, say, for example, people who smoke and they say like, I need to quit smoking. You'll never stop smoking. If you change that dialogue to I'm not a smoker, you'll stop smoking because in your head, you're starting to say to yourself, I'm not a smoker. So like when you go to have a cigarette, you're like, well, does a person who smokes or doesn't smoke a cigarette? Well, no, of course they don't. So like,
that's a good idea.
Oh yeah, I listen to people talk all the time, and they'll be like, oh man, I need to be a better friend. I'm like, you're a horrible friend.
You suck, Roger.
Yeah, like you, and they look at me like, why would you say that? I'm like, because like, it's not. I need to be a better friend. It's I'm a good friend.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what does a good friend do?
Yes.
Those should be your New Year's resolutions.
Yes.
Like a good friend calls somebody on their birthday or whatever the case is.
Well, and when you say need, that automatically turns the one thing into almost like a no-no. Like something is bad.
100%.
So then your psyche, we're going into psychological things,
reframe
guys,
it, man.
But
reframe
your psyche thinks, oh, well, then that's a treat. And so I'm going to treat myself because I need to stop, but like, I'm just going to, you know what I mean? Like it just, that changes the psyche. But if you say, like I'm not a smoker, well, then.
Or people go too far into it.
Yes.
So I know you work at a commercial gym.
Yeah.
I feel bad for you right now.
I have not gone back to the gym yet just because like kids are
gets
home
crazy.
and I cannot stand the first
couple weeks.
like month and a half.
But I would watch people so when I was working on a commercial gym, I would watch people go in the gym and I did what you did. People watched.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, oh man, I'm going to run a half marathon. I'm
And
like,
it goes so hard.
you don't even run. Like, I just watch them implode. And so what happens is, like, they give like 2 days of their all. Sometimes
Yes.
it's a day. And then all of a sudden they're like,
Oh, I'm
man,
so sore.
I'm so sore. I'm like, yeah, no
You haven't
kidding.
run this entire time.
That would be like me looking at it, be like, I'm going to go run 100 miles right now.
Yeah.
Like, of course I'm going to be tired tomorrow.
Like your body is not ready for that. That's a shock. That's like, so like one of my goals is to squat. I think I'm going to try and stay at 250. I would love, it's not going to happen, but
It could happen. I believe in you.
my realistic goal is like, let's see, I don't even remember.
Why that? Why the number?
Just to give it a number, to work towards.
Why not like your body weight times 0.5 or whatever?
Because I just wrote it down and was like, hey, but like, okay, let me see if I can find what I'm squatting right now.
Okay, let me ask you
I'm
just
listening
a quick question.
as I'm looking.
So what do you do when you hit that though? Like
Then
how do
I
you
up it.
Okay.
So
Because a lot of people will hit a goal and then like
Be done.
Again, exactly. So here's my other thing with New Year's resolutions. People do this. Like they reach their goal. So like if I'm coaching somebody and they're like, I want to run a 5K. I'm like, cool. So let's get you a program. So we get you a program. Here's race date. Here's start date of program.
Mm-hmm.
I will sign them up for another 5K 3 weeks before the 5K they're running.
Yeah.
And they're like, why would we do that? I'm like, because if you don't, you're going to sit on your butt after you finish that 5K and you're not going to do anything else.
Yeah. So my squat goal realistically is probably going to be closer to about 180.
I can't wait to see that.
I'm squatting 75 right now, but that's because I had to go down.
Gotta go way low.
Yeah. But then I might even add to my deadlift because I'm at 120.
There you go.
I can deadlift 120 right now, so maybe go up to like
Get it.
250.
Somebody
for
out
that.
there's like, really? That's it? Hey, you
Listen,
shut your mouth.
I used to be able to do so much more. Anyways, but I set that number, and
Mm-hmm.
then once I hit that, well, I want to see how much further I can go with that.
Or you get close to it and you're like, okay, we moved that number.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
because
like,
I'm
I'm not
going to
gonna-
get that or whatever the case is.
I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to squat 250.
That drives it's just
That's
so
just like
crazy.
a-
Like I hear that from so many people. They're like, "Oh, I set this goal," and I'm like, "Okay, what happens when you get it though?"
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Because normally you just quit.
Yeah.
Like, and then that's no fun.
But then, especially with like working out or anything of that sort, like as I've said on the podcast before, and from the guy that works out in your gym, he was like that if you quit, then you've just wasted all of that.
All
work.
of it, it's all gone.
All of that work
Mm-hmm.
that you just did. And so like don't quit. Just set attainable goals, guys. That's all I need to do.
Or start telling yourself that you're that person. Like, so
Yeah.
for example, like if somebody's like, I need to eat better. I'm like, okay, hold on. Let's just say I'm healthy. Like from here on out. Okay, so what does a healthy person eat?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's your 2 bullet points, 3 bullet points, whatever the case is. Let's go for it. But in regards to New Year's resolutions, like there's so many people either that I'm going to kind of deviate from this a little bit, but like that or you set unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
Where I'm like,
Like squatting 250.
well, to get away from like health and food, like there's
Yeah.
some people out there who are like, I don't want to be as critical this year about stuff. And I'm like, okay.
Okay, so how you can do that, boss?
Well, yeah, what does that look like? Because like in the back of my mind, sometimes I look at people, I'm like, you're kind of like that though.
Yeah.
Like you have like a very cynical side. Like you're trying to change your personality.
Yeah, that and how do you do that? How do you
I don't know.
magnify your
Yeah,
thoughts?
right.
You know what I mean? Like that's ingrained inside of your soul.
It's kind of like being like, I want to change my voice.
Can you do that?
That's impossible.
Is that a thing?
Don't get me wrong. You could totally change if you're critical.
for my voice to be here next year.
Like, can you imagine on Sunday I get up and I'm like, hello. And people are like, what is...
Please open your Bibles to
Yeah.
Revelation 1.
People are like, what is Jordan doing right now? Oh, I heard about this. He changed his voice.
That's weird.
what?
Yeah, I don't think that you can do that.
You can,
but yes,
yeah,
I know
yeah.
what you're saying. To just like,
There's people
have
out there who like,
unattainable.
yeah, you can. Okay, like you can stop being so critical or whatever the case is. Like those things are doable, but there's sometimes they set things and I'm like, wait, what?
do you know yourself? Did you say this to anyone else?
I want to be really, really dark with no cancer. What? Like, no, like, if you go to the tanning bed, like, we're on that track.
Then it's gonna be a problem. That's gonna be a problem.
What are your frustrations with New Year's resolutions? I mean, we've already named a ton of them, but still.
My biggest frustration is like, it almost setting a resolution sets yourself up to fail.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
and if you're not a person who is okay with learning from failure, it could really tank you.
yeah, and it almost, it's like when people.
That's a good thought. Yeah,
because like, it's like when people set a goal and then they don't achieve that goal, then they sink back further from the point that where they were at to begin with.
Yeah.
Because now they're down on themselves because they didn't achieve that goal
Yeah.
or that resolution or whatever. So you're like setting yourself up for failure. And like, what is the statistic? Like 90% of people break their resolution within the first week.
Oh, within the first couple of days.
Yeah, it's not something that a lot of people keep.
Yeah.
And so then the entire rest of the year you're like, oh well, I was gonna make sure that I mowed every single day to have the best yard in our neighborhood, but that didn't happen.
But
you know what? Like,
this is why it's so funny though, because like, okay, you and I both went to bed before midnight,
Yes.
right? Because we know our bodies are like, I can't do that.
this isn't happening.
So many people start off the new year on a bad note.
Yeah.
First of all, you stayed up till midnight, and you don't stay up till midnight.
Ever.
If you're working third shift, ring it in.
Right, my brother, he
Ring it in.
partying at midnight.
He's like, hey man, I just had my cup of coffee. I don't go to bed for another 6 hours.
Yeah.
Kudos to you. Why can't we just have like an 8:00 party?
Who decided midnight was gonna be?
I used to have a friend, and I kid you not, like this is way back in the world. He used to like, I'm not kidding you. He would be like, oh man, this is the year. I'm gonna do this and this. Woke up every single New Year's Day, hungover, like absolutely devastated. I'd be like, buddy, you're killing yourself.
Make the same choice you've made literally every other day.
Exactly. It blew
It's a
my
new
mind.
day. It's
Yeah.
a new day, but like you're the same person.
Man, this year stinks. I
just
wonder why.
It's always interesting to me. I don't know if this is a Greece or a grace or like an in between, but it's always interesting to me. I even wrote this down like in my journal that everybody sees this as day one.
Oh, yeah.
And so I don't know if it's like a Greece.
This is the first year where I haven't, actually.
Like it's any day can be day one.
I felt like it was Wednesday. Like
It was
I
Wednesday.
really did. Actually, the harder thing for me was when like Christmas and New Year's falls in the middle of the week. It's
Yeah.
super tough because I'm like, you are disrupting my life.
Everything. Yes. Everything. Like Josh was home yesterday, which is fine, but like I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah, you're like, what do you do?
Because nothing is open, by the way.
100%.
And so you're just all there.
It feels like I'm like we're having a Saturday on a Wednesday. Like, what are we
And
doing?
now we have to have a Saturday.
Yeah.
Like, now we have to have a normal Saturday.
I came to church this morning and I was like, I feel like Monday, and I'm like, yeah, it does because we weren't
But
here.
it's not. It's Thursday.
It's so
yeah,
wild
it's
to
weird.
me.
It's yeah, but everybody thinks like January 1st is my day one.
Mm-hmm.
Day one for the rest of my life. And it's like, nope.
No,
It could have started day one on June 32nd.
yeah. As a matter of fact, if you're 40, it's like day a lot.
Yeah.
Like
Like, I don't know. And so
that
it's
is
not like
true. There's like kind of a calendar reset.
yeah.
Do you feel like it's different for you now in your current age than it was when you were like in your teens?
Yeah, a little bit, but I think it's just because like I realized that day one is just the first day that you decide to do something.
Oh, that's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I decided that I'm, gonna start playing the violin,
Today is day one.
this is gonna be day one.
Yeah.
And like the end.
That's
It's super simple. But everybody is always like, oh well, I'm gonna wait until next year so that I can, I don't know,
I do that with
learn
people.
how to be a carpenter.
I do that with people with Bible reading plans. They're like, well, I'll just wait a month. And I'm like, why? I'm like, what? Like, why? What? Like, what do you mean? I'm like, let's start like now.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, but it won't like line up. I'm like, who cares? Like a yearly Bible reading plan starts whenever you start.
I will say with like stuff like that, they have day one, and if they have the date,
that's annoying.
oh, it makes me want to rip those pages out.
That's why I love like devotionals that just say like day 1, day 2, day 3,
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, I started on this and whatever date.
Yeah,
or
like
whatnot.
publishing companies need to get on that.
There's so
because-
many people that do that, and it's not
Yeah.
just like the beginning of the year stuff. There's people that do that with like life. They're like, oh well, I'm gonna start tomorrow, or I'm gonna start next week. I'm like,
I'm gonna start eating better after I eat for Christmas.
yeah, and you're
And
like,
it's like just
what?
start.
Like, why don't you just eat healthy now? Like,
Make that choice now.
it's like the person who's like, I'm gonna stop drinking after I drink this.
yeah, and it's just.
What?
I don't think that's how you just start it. To whatever day is the day one. You just said it. So
Do you have any graceful things? Do you have anything good to say about resolving?
I do. It does. Okay, so for like 3 seconds in the next year of every single year, people seem to like kind of be goal oriented, which is really nice. Like it is nice to be around people who have goals.
I'm tracking with you on that.
I enjoy that atmosphere.
Sure.
I enjoy when other people believe in themselves, because then it helps me to like, if I'm struggling through something, then I can kind of get myself through that as well.
Yeah.
But it only lasts for like 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's true.
But I like being in that like goal oriented, like I'm going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody just do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I could agree. It's kind of frustrating for somebody who's very systematic like myself to watch people fail, because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh no.
Oh,
Yeah, like
I was cheering for you.
like going back to the gym thing, because it's just so tangible.
It is.
There were so many times I'd
And
watch.
everybody's goal is, I'm going to lose 12 pounds.
Yeah. Like,
I'm going to fit into my high school clothes. It's
Well-
like, no, you're not. You've had 5 kids. Shut up.
it's not happening. Well, like I told somebody the other day, they were like, they were talking about the weight loss thing, and I said, you should throw out your scale. And they're like, why would you say that? I said, who weighs themselves? And they're like, well, like how will I know? I said, first of all, your body weight fluctuates 5 to 10 pounds like every single day. And they're like, 10 pounds? I'm like, it can, depending on what you eat like in a day. Like, yeah, like you can fluctuate like a significant amount of weight.
Yeah.
And I was like, so there's that. So if you're not weighing yourself every single day, and then secondly, who coined the weight? Like if you look at it and go like, okay, for me, for example, like let's just say 200 pounds. We'll just round up.
Yeah.
Like 200 pounds is what you should be at. Says who? Who said that?
Yeah.
Who defined that? Like I'm so dumbfounded. Like how did you
Yes.
get there? So I look at it and I go, hey, here's what I want you to do. I want you to stand in front of the mirror with no clothes on and go, do I like what I see?
Look at this.
Yeah. And if the answer to the question is no, then guess what? You got
You know
work
what?
to do.
So Kevin Hart, he has talked about this before, because he talked about somebody, like so many people ask him like, why do you work out so hard and stuff like that? And he's like, because when I turn around, I want my wife to look at me and say, that's mine. And I was like, oh, that's a really good way to put it.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's so funny. We do it. Like, so I was thinking about this the other day. Like, because I asked Bethany, I said, hey, you like my beard? And she's like, yeah, it's okay. And I was like, whoa, okay? Or like, you like it, you know? Because I said, for real, you're the really only person that it matters
Yeah.
for. Because I ain't looking. Like,
Please don't shave your face though. Like, please don't do it like all of a sudden.
oh, no.
You've got to do stair steps at this point.
I'm not bringing it back. Like, it's here for a while.
Okay, well, like if she was gonna say no, and you're like, I'm gonna trim my beard, you need to do it in steps, because if you go from this length to baby face,
You're like,
it's gonna
where'd
be
he
like,
go?
oh no, Jordan!
He
Anyway,
changed his
sorry.
voice. He changed his face. He changed the whole thing.
New year, new me. Anyway,
But it cracks me up. I'm like, you have one person in this world who
Yeah.
genuinely cares. And here's the funny thing. Like, I remember one time I did that. Like, I shaved my whole beard. Bethany didn't notice for 2 days.
how do you not notice?
2 days. I was outside with a buddy of mine. We were playing like, I don't know, catch or something like that. She comes out. She's like, when did you shave your beard? And I was like, 2 days ago. She's like, no, you did not. I'm like, how did we walk by each other?
Do you guys kiss?
You kiss me on the face. How do you not
notice?
know?
Oh,
It's so wild to me.
that's hilarious.
But that's what okay, so going back to the weight thing. So I told that person, I said, why do you weigh yourself? And they're like, because I won't know. I'm like, okay, but let's say you get to like, I'll just keep it to 200. Let's say you get to like 175 pounds.
Yeah.
Then what? Then I give up and go back to chips. It's like, what are you doing?
That's an unattainable goal. And
It's so stupid.
and like muscle, you gotta
Muscle and fat are two
factor that
totally
in.
different things.
Yeah, because like muscle is heavy. It's
Yeah.
way heavier than fat is.
Well, like a pound of fat and a pound of muscle, like a pound of fat is like big.
Yeah.
A pound of muscle is really thin.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? And so I'm like there's people I've coached before and they like start working out and they're like, I'm not losing weight. I'm like, why do you care so much about weight?
Yep.
Your body's shifting, it's moving things around, it's putting things in different locations, and they're like, yeah, but I'm not losing weight. I'm like,
You're
throw
realigning.
out the scale, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't like scales.
You need to change your scale in your house that you weigh your body weight on to putting a scale in your kitchen to weigh your food on. That's what
true.
you need
That's
to
true.
do.
Well, and that's half of it too. Is like losing weight is more like food.
It's
Than it
all
is.
food. Well, like
Anything else?
people told me the other day, this just happened actually. It's so funny. Somebody's like, well, I don't want to work out and look like you. And I'm like, okay, first of all, I'm going to take that as a compliment.
Wait, they want to look at they want to look like you?
They're like, I don't
Oh.
work out because I don't want to look like you.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, well, first of all, I'm going to take that as a compliment. Thank you. Like, that was my first thing. The second thing, I looked at him and I was like, you won't.
This takes work.
They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, what? So I was so lost. Like, it's
Says that.
I love that you lift because you're a girl that lifts.
Yes.
Like, I think that's great.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many girls like, I don't want to lift because I don't want to get,
I don't
want
want muscles.
I don't want muscle. Girl,
I want
listen.
to look like a man.
You're
and
not
it's like,
gonna
you're
look
not
like
gonna
a-
look like a man, baby. You're not gonna look like a man. You're gonna look like a strong female. Is what you're gonna look like.
God built
And,
you a
like,
certain way.
I know, like there are certain attributes that just don't.
So, people look at like these girl athletes. They're like, oh, that's why I don't lift because I don't want to look like her. You won't. You're not gonna look like her.
You're not gonna look like.
First
that,
of all,
yeah.
she's on 20 different like
So many
drugs.
steroids.
Yeah, so, like that's not gonna happen. Oh, you got me
There's
going. Like, it
medication.
just drives me crazy. Like, we do stupid things.
Yes, we set unattainable goals for resolutions.
Or
that-
we justify. We're like, I'm not
Yes.
going to do this because I don't want to be like this. It's like, oh my word. Are you like
I'm not gonna read because I don't want to be like my teachers. It's like
what?
that's not. There's a lot of other things. To
Or
read.
like the flip side of things like that. People are like, I don't read because I'm not a good reader. You know how you become a better reader? You read
You
books.
I've been trying to teach that to my kids. So for Christmas, they got books, and
I can just see Owen opening up a book like,
Oh,
what is this?
my goodness, it is such a funny book, but like we cannot get through it. He like every single word, and it's like simple words. He's in first grade, guys. So I mean, like
You gotta
have
give him
grace.
some slack.
I give
Yeah,
him
yeah.
some grace, but like every single word is like what, and he's like hot, and I'm like that's. No. When have you ever said "what"
I can just
in a
see you
sentence?
flicking him in the head. Wrong.
I sit there like last night was my turn because we switch because Miles is a much better reader.
Oh, yeah, I
than
bet.
Owen is.
He's older.
He's older, and so I told Josh last night. I was like, we have to switch each kid every night.
Yeah.
because we will lose our minds with Owen. I love Owen to death, but like
He'll get better.
When have you ever said the word canal? When have you ever said canal? You've never said canal in a sentence.
I love that you have no grace whatsoever for somebody who's in process.
Inside my head, I don't say it out loud, but in my head, I'm like, "Have you ever?"
You're at
have
the
you ever
gym
said that?
watching somebody lift and you're like, you should just quit. Just give up.
That's what I'm gonna do at the gym the next time I go.
Hey,
Hey,
no.
just stop.
You know what you'd be better at? Eggs and bacon.
You know what? Speaking of people at the gym, the chick that I sent you that video,
Oh, yeah.
she's at the gym again.
Man.
And there have been multiple days that I have wanted to send you videos, but then like your Facebook group makes me
they
laugh.
went nuts on you. That was unbelievable.
So I'm not going to record anybody in the gym, guys.
They were mad
trying
at
to
you.
attain your weight loss plan of 2025.
Just use the machines correctly and you don't have to worry about it. How about that?
YouTube it, guys.
People are like, I can't believe you're shaming that person like that. Okay, hold on a second.
Shame me if I'm using something incorrectly. I'll stand by that till the day I die. If I'm doing something wrong, I hope you laugh at me.
For those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, I'm going to give you a brief summary of what happened. So Kim was at the gym and she observed a certain individual who we do not know.
In front of me.
We do not know. And she decided to record said individual using equipment in an inappropriate way.
Just incorrect.
Incorrect way. Yeah, that's true. Inappropriate wouldn't be the word. And then she sends it to me, and I thought it was amazing. Yeah. And I have a group of people who I interact with online, and I posted it there, and I said, hey, check this out. And people were like, how dare you? It was bad. Yeah. There were so many people that were like, I mean, if they would have known where we lived, I'm pretty sure.
Grab your torch and pitchforks. We're right at dawn.
Your planter boxes in the front of your house would have been busted
Going
up.
straight through my windows. Yeah.
You can't say anything to anybody now, though. Like,
know.
You can't walk up to somebody and be like, hey, you're doing that wrong. Because,
I've
oh my
thought
goodness.
about it. Because at this point,
what if you just did it correctly in front of her?
I want to. With this chick specifically, it's not even like you look ridiculous. It's like you're gonna injure yourself.
You're gonna get hurt. Yeah,
like there are things that you need to align your feet. And I'm not like 100% like I'm not my husband when it comes to working out, but there are certain things that I'm like, you cannot do this.
Just do it right. Yeah.
It's gonna hurt eventually. And then what do? Do I just sit there and like, oh no?
That's when you like look at her.
Idiot! You should have been doing it right in the first place. Sucks to suck, nerd.
She gets hurt, and you look at her, and you're like, "Told you."
Because I'm a told you so.
Did that go the way that you thought it went? No, it did not.
I've been watching you for weeks doing it incorrectly, but you didn't want me to talk to you.
You're like doing curls, and you just put them down, and you look at her. She's on the floor. You're like, you know what? This is my fault. I should have said something to you weeks ago, and I didn't. So I'm sorry. And
I don't know.
I revoke my membership.
Yeah, I can't. Anyway. So yes, back to my grace. That was my grace. Is like I like being around goal-oriented people. Man, we strayed.
We did stray from that.
Do you have graces?
About New Year's resolutions? I do like. If you can stick with it, like you can make habits. I'm big on Atomic Habits. I know some of you know that book and whatnot. It's been a game changer for a lot of people. And the rare 10% that it sticks with, like, man, I love it. I love when like March hits. Actually, as a pastor, I love hearing people in like November be like, I'm 1 month away from finishing my Bible cover to cover for the first time.
Nice.
And I'm like, yes, like, okay, that's why I dropped that. Or,
yeah.
I'll see people with results. Mm-hmm. So like I've seen people in like April or March and they look at me, they're like, hey, I'm still going. I'm like, yeah, good for you. You're doing it, or whatever the case is. Those are always graces.
Hey, and I mean, like, that's what I did with my journal. Last year, I bought the journal and was like, you're going to write this. This is now an integrated part in your morning routine. And now, like, I'm lost with that.
You can't live with that. You know what? That's funny you say that because, like, every year I think about that. I actually thought about it this morning. That's weird that you brought that up because I think I'm addicted to. I'm in like an abusive relationship that I can't get out of.
Oh,
in regards to the gym, because I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, I don't think I could not do what I do every day.
Yeah.
It would just be so foreign. Mm-hmm. It's already hard enough for me. Like I take one day a week where I don't have to work out, but usually I'm doing something. I'll go for a walk or whatever the case is. And like, I'm just so programmed and you take a lot of abuse for it when you're around like people who don't understand it. So like whenever it's like Christmas, Thanksgiving, things like that, people look at it and I get up at 5 or 4:30 and like my family doesn't understand.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, it's Christmas. You should just like sleep in. I'm like, first of all, I can't.
I don't know how.
I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
Like I've been doing this for so long. I legitimately can't do that. Mm-hmm. And that's when I love when those habits hit because I'm like, no, these are good. These are guardrails that help you navigate life.
Yeah. When did you decide to do that? 4:30.
Early morning?
Yeah. Like, when did you make that decision?
That's a good question. It's been so long ago. I think it just, so it's really interesting because it just kind of slowly happened. I started getting up like earlier and earlier and earlier. And I had to get over Bethany's comments a little bit because she's like, why are you doing this? Like, what is wrong with you? Probably some of it was because that's when it's quiet.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm most productive in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And so even now, I am not a 4:30 waker upper, but like
yet
at this point, just this morning, actually, I was like, I could probably stand to get up at like 5:45 every morning because my kids wake up so early. Early. And I enjoy like at least a good 45 minutes of just coffee, Bible, journal, news, wake up.
What I did for the longest time, I was checking our time. What I did for the longest time was I started, and I've coached people on this too. I started with a clock, and I started to. So I have a clock on my phone, and it has like 7 different clocks on it. And I started to look at the clock and just say, how long does it take me to do this? How long does it take me to do this? How long does it take me to do this?
Oh yeah, and work backwards.
And then I started like, so I was like, okay, so like it takes me really like ultimately my morning routine is about 3 hours. So like what I'll do is at like the day before, I'll just start thinking to myself like, okay, if I need to be here at 7, so let's just say like everybody in the house wakes up at 6:30, 7 o'clock, 7, 6, 5, 4. It's easy to do that, to just count backwards. But then if you also have a clock and you're able to kind of sit there and look through at how much time something takes, you can also figure out how to do that more effectively. So like, why does it take me 40 minutes in the bathroom?
Yeah.
Because you're probably dilly-dallying.
Yeah.
You know? Okay, so how do I make this effective? I spent a lot of time, probably years, figuring out processes on how to get things more concise.
Efficient.
Very efficient.
Yeah.
Once things started becoming efficient, I was like, ooh, I can get a lot done. You know?
Yeah. I'm an efficient person, and love you so much, Josh, but nobody else in my house is. Nobody else in my house is, and it kills me to no end.
My systems and structures are, they've taken years to refine, and I'm constantly refining them. And Bethany kind of laughs because she's like, if I move that one thing, I'll mess up your whole life. And I'm like, you would. Like, I have so much, like, just a routine person. But that's the first thing I outside like throwing out your scale. That's the first thing I tell people. I was like, you should time yourself. Yeah. Like, how long does it take you to do this? How long does it take you to do this? And you'd be amazed at how long it takes you. You're wasting a lot of time in life.
Yeah. Yeah. I've gotten to a point where like things have become more of a habit than they have become like I have to. Like for a really long time it was I have to. And now it's like I haven't gone to the gym for like 2.5 weeks, and I'm like, I'm going to have to backtrack on like how much I can lift because I haven't lifted in 2 weeks. And so I'm like, yeah. And like just all of those like little things that have started turning more into just like habits.
Why do you think the morning for you has been like so appealing?
Because that's when I'm most productive.
I used to look at people, and I agree with that. I used to look at people for a long time and be like, oh yeah, if you want to do your devotions at night, like go for it. Now it's totally changed. I'm like, no, your morning routine is so clutch.
Yeah.
I like everything. Like if you do not start your morning off in the right way, your whole day is shifted.
Yes.
So there's some people that are like, well, Jordan, what if you had to stay up late? We did an event in December and I was up till 1 o'clock in the morning for 2 nights in a row. And there were people that were like,
oh yeah, and you still woke up.
Yeah. There were people like, well, I bet you won't wake up tomorrow for that. And I was like, no. I'll still do it.
Yeah.
Just
do it tired.
I'll do it tired, and that I think is hard for people to kind of wrap their mind around because it's so instinctive for us to just say that. And that's how you drop your resolution, right? Because you just say, oh, well, it didn't happen or whatever. Bethany's like that with working out. She's like, I didn't get to working out today. I'm like, I'd be dead.
Yeah. I'm like antsy. I'm getting antsy to be back in.
Yeah.
And also it helps me like relieve stress, and I am so whopped at work right now. And so like I have no stress relief, and I have my children home, and so I'm like,
that's fair. It's like, when do you go back to school again? You should definitely go back to school.
How many hours?
Yeah. And I should write thank you notes to your teachers. 100%.
Yes.
Well, and the other graceful thing, just to kind of throw it in here is when we're talking about New Year's resolutions, this is such a good time to speak into people's lives.
Yeah.
Because they're so open to it. Like they're so like, And I think that's like the benefit of being like, hey, what are you doing to better yourself or, use your time more effectively? I don't know. I love that. I love that people are open to, they're more open to suggestions. Whereas later in the year when they're failing epically, they're like, I don't want to talk about it.
They're hurt.
Okay.
They're sad. Yeah. If somebody was going to tell me, I want to have the best lawn.
I love that you went to the lawn. Like, who has that resolution? If you have that
People
resolution,
have that, dude.
my lawn's gonna be amazing this year.
I don't. Okay, well, erase that one. Okay, so no social media. That's gonna be. It's not necessarily like a resolution for me, but I've slowly been cutting back. So I've
weeding it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this year, last night, I cut down one app to 15 minutes a day.
Nice.
And then one app to 5 minutes a day.
Nice.
And it might move even lower than that.
You just slowly work it out of your life.
Because it's like, so like when I say, if you're setting a resolution, don't go broad. Or if you're going to go broad, do the steps. That's your goal. Is like, this is your goal.
Yeah.
But do the steps to get you to that goal.
Yeah.
What are the steps to eating better? What are the steps to removing social media out of your life? What are the steps to, being knowledgeable on a subject? Like figure out those steps and then put those to a month. You know, like, okay, so in February, if I want to, be like an awesome photographer by the end of the year. What am I going to do in January that's going to get me ready for January 2026?
Yeah. People think that about me with like writing books. They're like, how do you write so many books? And I'm like, I write a page a day.
Like the end.
That's it.
Little steps.
Yeah. Little tiny steps.
It's not these big altering things.
It's funny you bring that up because I would say too, like, don't broadcast it.
Yeah.
I'm really big on that. Like if you have a goal, like, and we do this in marriage all the time. Like people be like, well, I'm going to go tell my wife what I'm going to do. I'm like, she'll notice. Wait for her to say something. Because if you broadcast it, here's what's going to happen. She's going to look at you and be like, well, I thought you were doing this year for your New Year's resolution. I don't tell anybody. Usually I have a coach and he has it and we check in with each other. But other than that, my goals are so like, they're mine. They're not yours. Like, because if you see them, you look at that and you go,
and here I am telling you all of my goals for 2025, Jordan.
That's why I gave you the categories. I don't think it's wrong, like in this context, in regards to like we're talking about it or whatnot. Like it's that. But like, let's say you were somebody who like I interacted with, or I'm one of your chefs or whatever, that's beside you, and you're like, hey, I want to be a better boss this year. And what am I going to do? I'm constantly looking like, oh, you yelled at me. You're not a good boss. I thought you were going to be a good boss this year. What? That's why just don't say it. Don't say it. Yeah. Just do it, man. And people will figure it out. Yeah. So it's always fun too when people are like, man, well, you'll get tagged. People will be like, he's kind of like that. And then somebody will speak up and be like, he used to be, but he's not really like that anymore. And you're like,
I did it. Working.
No, your resolution. All right, at the end of all of our episodes, we always like kind of ask you guys what you think, and then kind of what we would like to hear from you. So Kim, like, what do you got?
What
like,
are what's your news?
Yeah, right. As I just said that, I knew I kind of shot myself in the foot there.
What are your?
Or give us one.
Yeah. What's a New Year's resolution that you have? Maybe what's a New Year's resolution that you haven't attained?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Full transparency if you really want. I mean, nobody's really commented on them yet. Come on, 2025. Maybe that'd be a resolution.
Yeah.
Start commenting.
Yeah.
Tell us. Let us know.
I hope you do. I hope you resolve to give us comments on the Grease and Grace social media accounts.
But if you have a resolution, maybe like what are the steps that you can do to get you to that point?
Yeah.
Like lay it out for yourself.
Yeah, I think my thing would be if you do them, why? If you don't do them, why?
Ooh, yeah.
That's what I'm always curious about. Like, if you do this, why do you do it? Like, what's your reasoning behind that? What's the rationale behind that? If you don't do it, why have you never like stepped foot? Are you worried you're going to fail? Are you worried that like, is there some concern there? I don't know. I think that's kind of like something to think about. And then just like, this is so broad, but what's your grease and grace with New Year's resolutions? Like, I'd love to hear people be like, my boyfriend.
What's the dumbest resolution you've ever heard? There's got to be some dumb ones like, I'm going to climb Sears Tower in Chicago barefoot.
Somebody's like, oh yeah, I did that. That was a great experience.
No, I'm sure. But like, what is the dumbest or what is the coolest? Like,
oh, there you go.
There's probably some really cool
some good ones out there.
Have you seen anybody achieve like that? They're like, I'm going to climb, Mount Everest or something. And then they go and climb Mount Everest, or like, I walked the Appalachian Trail.
Appalachian?
Appalachian.
There we go.
But like, they actually did.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
like,
fair.
I want to know some of those. Or if you have a word.
Oh, your word of the year?
Yeah, word of the year.
Word of the year is a good one. Not yet. Bethany does.
Do you always have one?
Ever since Bethany's done them, I kind of do them just to appease her. But no, not really.
I don't really have one. Well, I've never really done one, but this year I've got one in my pocket.
I have a couple of the one I told her last night, which probably will stick, is just I'll leave it there. I'll leave people hanging on it. All right, so you can reach out to us in a couple ways. First of all, greaseandgracepod@gmail.com. That's a great way to just give us some feedback on what you love, what you don't love, what's your grease and grace with Grease and Grace. And then you can also comment on our social media page, which is primarily we just use Facebook. So we know that's not like a thing anymore, but it is for us.
Yes.
So get over it and get back on Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg will be happy.
Comment on us.
Comment us.
Comment us.
In Appalachia.
Appalachia.
All right, until next week, we'll talk to you soon.
Later.
Peace.
I burnt my hand and it hurts.